Like most athletes, I've always been a bit of a perfectionist. But if you don't strive to be the best, how will you ever reach your dreams and how will you get to the top? I tore my ACL going into my junior year of high school, and I never took advantage of the game from that point on. I never wanted to give anything less than my best effort on the court because I knew what it was like to lose something that I loved. I came back next season, made the Canadian national team, and eventually went on to win the first ever bronze medal at the world stage that following summer. In the midst of all this, I committed to Buffalo at the beginning of my senior year of high school. I came from such a high, not only having the opportunity to represent my country, but starting, leading, and playing a lot of important minutes against the best in the world. But then you get to college, and things change. You go from being the top to the bottom really fast, and you have to work your way back up. I was playing behind a senior point guard who was arguably one of the best in the NCAA. So I did what I've always done, accepted the challenge, put my head down, and got to work.
Oh, great shooter, Molly!
I was in the gym every day. It was all I knew. The difference was no matter how hard I worked, no matter how much time I spent in the gym, or how many extra reps, extra sprints, extra lifts I got in, I would still have to sit and watch. This was where my perfectionism came in. What was I doing wrong? Was it my body? Was I too small, too slow, too weak? What was wrong with me? I changed my eating habits and started to cut most unhealthy foods out of my diet. Lost a few pounds, felt lighter and quicker, so I kept going. I increased my training and was working out about 2 to 3 times a day. It became out of control and I didn't even know it. My coach called me into her office one morning and said, "Hanna, you don't look good. You're struggling with something. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna help you." I remember sitting there like, what are you talking about? I'm just trying to be in the best shape I can be, to be the best I can.
Sweet 16, here we come as the Buffalo Bulls go 2-0 in the NCAA postseason tournament.
We made it to the Sweet 16 that year. The journey was so much fun, a dream come true, but something still just wasn't right. I had lost about 20 pounds at that point, and most of my muscle was gone. Coach made me start seeing a psychologist at school, and I was a little hesitant at first, but decided to give it a try. I remember thinking that psychologists were for people who were struggling with real mental health issues and who couldn't deal with things on their own. But that wasn't me. I was fine. I was just trying to be the best I could be. At my first appointment, my psychologist told me she was diagnosing me with anorexia. But I thought, I'm not anorexic. I'm just an athlete who lost weight to get in shape, to be faster, to be stronger. I went home that summer after my freshman year, and my friends and family didn't even recognize me. My mom was in tears when she saw me. I finally realized I had a problem. I was sick, and I needed help. I started to put some weight back on when I was home, and I came back to school 4 weeks later, feeling great. It was my time. Midway through summer workouts, I was feeling good, starting to find my voice again. A coach called me into her office and said, "We're going to hit the brakes. Your body's too weak, and this is something bigger than basketball. We're training too hard and too often, and your disorder won't allow you to eat enough to maintain, let alone to gain any more weight." They wanted me to go home for the rest of the summer, to rest, get treatment, and be healthy for the upcoming season. I remember sitting in the locker room with my teammates, shaking at the fact that I was about to tell them one of the most vulnerable things about myself. I had to tell them I was sick, that I had a disorder, and that if I didn't make changes now, I might never be able to play again. It was the second time in my life that I lost what I loved most, and I hated myself for allowing things to get this out of hand. It took me a really long time to realize that this wasn't my fault. This disorder had taken over my life and it had a mind of its own. I started consistently seeing a psychologist and a dietitian. It was a different kind of work than I was used to. I had to learn how to take care of myself, to rest, to put my body and my mental health first. It was the first time I've ever heard of self-care. You see, as athletes, we're surrounded by people and messages that are always telling us that we have to work harder and go harder than the person we're going against, and that there's no time to be mentally weak or tired. Don't get me wrong, I've believed this my whole life. It's easy to get caught up in all of this. The world of athletics is competitive, and in order to reach your goals, you have to push past your comfort zone. But how far is too far? What I failed to recognize for a very long time is that athletes are still humans. We struggle and we hurt. Sometimes we just can't push that extra rep. We have to accept and love ourselves through these failures because they are all a part of our journey. We are taught that mental illness is mental weakness, and that great athletes cannot be mentally weak. As the season went on, I had to learn to be an elite athlete, lead my team, and lead myself out of one of the lowest places I've ever been in my life. It wasn't easy. I struggled every day to put on a fake smile and act like the strong athlete and leader that I was expected to be, all while worrying if I was going to have enough energy to get through the day, let alone practices, classes, and workouts. Midway through the season, I was scared. I was playing a lot of minutes, my body was tired, more than usual. I started to lose weight again, and I wasn't able to eat enough to fuel my body for the amount of work we were doing every day. Basketball was my first love. It was the only thing in life that allowed me to be myself. I couldn't lose that, not now. So for the first time, I was honest with myself. I was not okay. I told my coach I was struggling. I remember we were in the hotel after a game, and I played great that night. but I just wasn't happy. So she stood there, she held me, and we prayed. She helped me turn to God, my family, and my support team. I finally accepted that I could not do this alone, that if I wanted to be healthy again, I would have to lean on those around me. The most important thing I realized at this time was that I was not alone, that there are athletes and people everywhere who experience their own struggles, and that people are just as scared as I was, and just as scared as I still am. We can't do it alone, and we can't see people struggling and ignore the issue because for so long mental health has been such an uncomfortable conversation. The stigma has to end. I started to really rely on people around me, started to learn to love myself again, and I had helped lead my team to a MAC championship and then an NCAA tournament run.
Hanna Hall, welcome to Cleveland as the sophomore sticks maybe the biggest shot of the game.
He's still dancing, baby, right here.
When the season ended, I had a chance to reflect. I finally started to find some pride in my battles. Athletes are humans. We all struggle in our own way. It is time we stop going through it alone. It is time we break down the walls, the discomfort that comes with talking about our mental health. Reach out, use your resources, be uncomfortable, but just don't be silent. Mental illness is not mental weakness. Don't give up, reach out. The only way that this stigma can end is together. This disorder is still a huge part of me. The difference is now, it's a part of me that I can actually be proud of. I'm Hanna Hall, a 5'3" Division I point guard from the University at Buffalo, and I struggle with mental illness every day.